by Gazzaniga and firing the Blues in front. And then he was on hand to lay it on the plate for Erling Haaland to make it 2. City have had other chances as well. 1 or 2 as well for Girona. It's been an entertaining first half. But in this, do you call it a pre-season friendly? I guess maybe so. It's City 2, Girona 0.
Welcome back to Match Day Live. We may have had a little bit of technical difficulty with our show in the first half because basically we interviewed Pep. He came over, had a lovely chat with us, and he essentially just brought the whole house down here. But we do hope you enjoyed our first 20 minutes that we got before the game, and I do hope you've enjoyed that first 45 minutes as City are leading Girona 2-0 at the interval of today's friendly game. Still joined here by Shaun Gota and by Paul Dickov. Gents, hi Shaun, what did you make of that first 45?
Well, first of all, I got to say, when Pep comes in, he shuts it down. Eh? He literally shut it down. But it was really great to get a couple of minutes with him. The first half, I thought it was typical of what we'd expect, trying to get boys into rhythm, because again, the boys left at such a high level in terms of the playing standard, the fitness, everything, and then some have had time off, some have been playing. For me, you can see Kevin De Bruyne's fitness is just up there, and you can see him sort of pushing, still some good quality. But for his standards, I think he'll still want to push on a little bit more as well.
Yeah, definitely. Kevin, I look like Kevin was. He doesn't take a rest, this man. He's back out. It's a friendly. He's on it. I mean, involved in the goals as well. I mean, I agree with Goats. He just looks like he just never takes a break, does he?
He does, but it's interesting, and Pep touched on that before the game. He was saying the likes of Kevin and Ilkay, they've got minutes in their belt. Possibly the ones like Riyad, I think actually look sharp, and Erling, the ones who haven't had the minutes under their belt might not be as sharp. But I've been really impressed with them all. From right at the very start, the young kids at the back I think have been excellent. We always want to start on the front foot, don't we? We always want to press teams, and you see it here. Kevin ends up winning it there, but there's 3-4 players ready to pounce him down, and that's, we've seen that so often from Man City over the years. The high press to set us off at the beginning of the games.
Well, Kevin totally jumps on that, Shaun.
Yeah, I mean that shows his fitness there. He's alert to it, and if you're not as sharp, he probably that half a yard he quite doesn't get there. But because of his sharpness mentally and physically, he's there. He gets on it, wins it, and scores the goal. So really pleased, because we want Kevin De Bruyne at the levels he left with, and it looks as though he's back to those levels.
Yeah, if I was fans of any of the Premier League clubs seeing Kevin De Bruyne come back in this mood from the World Cup, I would be very, very worried indeed. So Kevin got the first goal, got us off the score sheet today. Our second goal, well, if it's not Kevin De Bruyne, who else could it be? Oh, of course. It's Erling Haaland. He's had 5 weeks off and he's taken less than 40 minutes to get back on the score sheet. But what did you make of the build-up, first of all, Paul?
Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. I've been really impressed with 2 centre-halves. Shea and Katongo there. When you see Katongo, they've stepped in really well whenever the balls went to get into the defender's feet, and he's on the front foot. He's went in, he's won it, and then he's gave the ball, and then look how many times do we see this? Riyad Mahrez, Kevin De Bruyne going in that inside right channel, and then perfect ball across. But I love Erling Haaland here, because you can't see it on this clip, but just as Kevin's about to pass it, he nudges the defender out the way. It's just a little touch.
Oh, I want to see that. I didn't notice that.
Just a little touch. It gives him that half a yard to pull off him.
Yeah.
You know, that's so clever. That it's not a foul, but he's just getting the defender off balance so he can pull off and get his tap in.
Just describe that again to us. Now we're back on camera. What did he show? What did he do again? Describe that to us, Paul.
But just as Kevin's going to square the ball to him, the defender's tight to him,
Yeah.
so he just gives him a little touch so he can come off.
Right, I'm studying it. Hold on.
And it just gives him. It's so clever to get half there.
Yeah.
That little touch allows him to get the half the yard to put it in. Such clever play. People might say a little bit dark arts, but I think that's super, super intelligent.
It really is. I mean, it's so clever because he in order to get that space, if he stands still, the actual defender can also anticipate that. But because he's nudged him, as Paul said, his momentum takes him towards the goal, and that gives him that yard to then just get that side foot. It's just really top level play. But for me, down this whole right side, you got Mahrez there sliding in De Bruyne. Rico's been going inside. It's been the build-up on the right-hand side. I've really been enjoying it, and I think Rico's really impressed me. Like his ability to go inside, but also know what options to choose. His awareness, his body positioning. I've been really impressed with him. But that right-hand side and De Bruyne, well, you know, De Bruyne does what De Bruyne does. You know, he gets in his positions, puts it across, and Ireland just earns himself that half a yard.
Yeah, so Mahrez to De Bruyne to Erling Haaland. It's like we've not been away, hasn't it? Isn't it brilliant? Absolutely love that goal. There's a great point, though, about Rico Lewis there. Newly turned 18-year-old Rico Lewis, Paul, looking like he has been in this team for his whole life.
It does, and he's so confident in the surroundings that he's in as well. And not just in playing at right back, but Shaun rightly said, it was very prominent at the start of the game that he was playing that sort of an inverted midfielder in there, and the confidence he's got. He was getting the ball off Ortega, who was playing out, you know, little tight areas. He's in there with Gundogan and De Bruyne, and he doesn't look out of place at all. You know, he's got such confidence in his own ability. We all know he's quick. We all know that he's got real good determination. But I've been really impressed with his quality today.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. I've loved when he's went inside because I know these players are they're developed to be able to do these things and play in different positions. He's going inside there, and he's always sort of scanning and looking around, and I'm sure this is advice that he's been getting from all the other fullbacks. And when you're going inside or you're asked to go inside, there was only one time I think he ended up in the final third, and De Bruyne had the ball, and he wasn't expecting De Bruyne to pass it to him, and he was on, and I think De Bruyne was like, you was in, you know, and he didn't actually quite expect himself to be free, I suppose. But for me, I think it's been brilliant.
We keep talking about trust a lot, don't we? And it's so evident that not just Rico and the two centre-halves, the senior players trust the young players.
Yes.
You know, they know that they've got fantastic ability, and they trust them. They keep. I've been there many a time. I keep saying it. When you're a kid and a first-team player looks at you and he thinks, I don't really want to give him the ball because I don't trust him yet. But all over the pitch, and we'll see the second half, hopefully a lot more of the youngsters coming on, that trust is there with the senior players. Yeah.
Well, I was just going to touch on regards to the centre-backs, talking about the young lads. Shea, I think it is, been really pleased and watching him, just showing the confidence. But you could see why Pep has these players in there. Again, there's no freebies. They're in there because they train well, they perform well, and they deserve the opportunity. And he's looked very confident on the ball, at times stepping in. And just look really good. So it's been really impressive watching the youngsters. Yeah.
So City 2-0 up there at half-time. There has been a couple of Girona chances, though. Ortega made a great save towards the end of that first half. Sorry, Paul. We'll have a look at that now, Ortega save in just a second. Couple of Girona chances. Anything for you? Any concern for you here, Paul?
No, not really. Look, they're a good footballing team. You know, we all know they're part of the City football group, so they all want to play as Manchester City play.
Yeah, Jan Couto's who we were looking at there.
Jan Couto is one of our players out on loan. So they are going to get a couple of chances, but I think City have been quite comfortable throughout it. You know, there was one that began the half for Stefan Ortega's slightly got the ball stuck under his feet and nearly gave it away, but he's got to do better there and hit the target. But you can tell that they want to play football and they've got some good players in the team.
Yeah. I think it's a great opportunity as well. Like we say, Stefan Ortega, backup goalkeeper to Ederson. We've seen him play though in the cup competitions. He's had a couple of games. Looked solid when we've had him. Came here saying that he wanted to challenge. So this again is another, not just for the youngsters, but a great opportunity for him as well, Shaun.
Yes, it is. And what I've been impressed when I've seen him play, his ability with his feet. You know, I always thought like Addison is probably the top of the tree, but this guy comes close. You know, he's very confident with the ball. Is very confident with the ball at his feet. There we see, does he get some fingers on that to just tip it onto the post?
Let's just say yes.
You know,
it's a great little touch.
Yeah,
honestly,
yeah.
That's a fantastic save.
So I think he's a great keeper to be pushing Addison as well. But I love him. He's very comfortable with the ball at his feet, and this is what we need certainly in our teams.
So we're going to see more of the players that have been at the World Cup returning to training this week. But of course on Thursday we have the Carabao Cup game against Liverpool, Paul. In terms of what you've seen today in that first half, I appreciate we're only 45 minutes into this. Anybody that's standing out for you that is going to have played themselves into that Liverpool team?
I think look, the obvious ones, KDB and Ilkay Gundogan, you know, and going back to what Pep said before the game, that, you know what, I don't think he was that worried about the ones that have been playing and getting minutes under their belt. Possibly the ones that have not done anything for 5 weeks and had no match time. It might take them slightly longer to get back into it. But I think the players coming back into the Liverpool game, they'll all want to play in it. It's Liverpool at the Etihad in the Cup. And the minutes that they've got in their legs throughout the World Cup has kept them at a certain level where the match sharpness is going to be really important. It's not just Liverpool, especially going into the Christmas period as well. Yeah,
I think Pep knows these players. And no matter what level and standards they come back, he knows he can trust them. So I think I think even the players that are let's say the players from Portugal, I think those players will be potentially could be a part of it because they're still fit. Yeah. They're still fit. He knows what they can do. So I think it's about the momentum. Them coming, playing the initial Liverpool game, possibly Leeds, and then looking after saying, where can I get that pocket of rest for them to recuperate? But I think it's about momentum. And so I'll be interested to see, how he goes about it. But I will be playing players that are been playing because they've got the fitness, got the momentum, and that's with Erling as well.
Yes, it is, Shaun. Okay, yes, I like that. I can't wait. I'm fascinated for Thursday's game to see not only what our team's going to be like, but what Liverpool's team's going to be like. And I think Pep said it. A few people have said we've no idea what this second half of the season's going to be like. But from what we've seen here, the players are looking sharp, and there's no reason why they won't just go straight back into where we were.
I think they will. I really do. And we'll keep talking about the young boys, but the experience they've got. If they need to be involved on Thursday night against Liverpool, getting the minutes with the De Bruynes, with the Haalands, with the Mahrezes, it's going to give them so much confidence if they're going to be needed next week.
I wondered how he'd approach this with regards to the Liverpool game, because we know that Liverpool are a team that like to press. Would it have been a game that you have opposition that will press you, or is it a team where you want to get your momentum, get your rhythm, keep possession? It looks as though he's going for the team where we can get our momentum, keep possession, score some goals, go in it with the confidence, because he'll know the patterns on how we can play out with a team that presses. So, I was intrigued on would he get a team that will really jump at us pressing, but it seems to be, it's always the right call. Pep's made it.
Trust in Pep, of course it is. Yeah, I was really intrigued as well to see. But from what we've seen in the first 45 minutes, I'm looking forward to that Liverpool game even more. We do have another 45 minutes coming up, of course. If you would like to watch that, if you didn't watch the first half, it's City Plus. Get yourself onto the app now, get yourself signed up to City Plus so you can watch the second half, and of course you can get it on recast as well. The second 45 though, I would really like to see Carlos Borges come on, Paul. What a player.
He is. He's a special talent, for somebody so young. Scores all sorts of goals, technically very, very, very good. And, within the club, we've got so many wonderful players, but he's the one at the minute that seems to just be tipping his head above. So it'd be great to see him get minutes in the pitch. I might be completely wrong, but I've just got a funny feeling the senior players might get a lot more minutes in them in the second half.
Yeah, well, we just have so many young quality players coming through. I'd like to see Nico get on for a few minutes. I've been able to see him play and his ability on the ball. So it'll be interesting to see how he can bring his game, his personality, being a part of the first team and playing with the first team. So it'd be good to see him get 15 minutes or 20 minutes because I think he's a talented player as well.
We've got so much talent in that EDS. I'd like to see Oscar Bob get on as well. I'd like to see him. He's touched around the first team for a few games. What makes you think, though, Paul, what's your kind of feeling there about the first team players getting more minutes? Indeed, what would Pep's thinking be behind that as well?
Yeah, this is the only game they've got. as a team before it goes back into it. Liverpool next week, and then before you know it, it's Leeds, then it's Everton, then it's Chelsea. You know, so they want to try and get as many minutes into their legs as possible. I know Kevin and Ilkay have been away, but still, to get a little bit of momentum going into the game next week. You know, and as the players won't want to come here and just play 45 minutes. When they know they've got a game next week.
Yeah.
They want to be out there for the full 90 minutes to feel confident in themselves going into the Liverpool game next week.
Paul's absolutely spot on, because I'm thinking of someone like Erling who hasn't been playing during the World Cup, and we all know what he can do. Given the chances, he'll score the goals. But it's the fitness side of things, and you want to be at the level, and he wants to be at the level. So it'll be interesting to see whether he plays him 60 or does he play him 80. I would be thinking he'd be playing him close to 80 minutes, as Paul says. That these guys getting a lot more time than probably we'd normally expect, as opposed to coming off at sort of 60 minutes.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Really interesting in terms of seeing the play. I was thinking perhaps they would come off at half-time, we'd see loads of the youngsters, but when you point out that is their only game, then that makes sense, right? Yeah. We're seeing the players come back onto the pitch now. Don't think there was any changes to tell you about.
We'll find out now.
We'll find out. It looks like Paul Dickov is right. Right, we're going to go over now to Michael Brown and to the wonderful Alistair Mann, who will be our commentary team for the second half. We'll be back at full time.
Yes, welcome back to the City Football Academy for the second half of the... Is it a pre-season game? I suppose you could probably call it a pre-season game. We've already had 14 Premier League fixtures, but a 5-week hiatus for the World Cup, so it's a pre-season friendly in terms of the restarting of the season. And City lead by 2-0 against Girona, currently 13th in La Liga, part of the City Football Group. And as Natalie and Shaun and Paul were saying, Pep Guardiola has not made any changes. I hesitated because there were only 9 out on the park, but Messrs Haaland and Mahrez have now joined them. So that's an interesting situation. We're wondering if there would be wholesale changes. There hasn't been. There are a couple of alterations I can see for Girona. A player who used to play for Liverpool, Leeds rather, Samuel Saiz has come on. And I think a second change by the look of it as well. But we'll get confirmation in a few moments' time of that. But no, the City 11 as they were at the start of the game. So Ortega in goal, Lewis, Charles, and then you've got Katongo and Sergio Gomez, and then you've got Cole Palmer, Ilkay Gundogan, Kevin De Bruyne, Morgan Rogers, Erling Haaland and Riyad Mahrez. Well, Michael, I guess Michael Brown is alongside me in the commentary position. Michael, the fact that all 11 are still out there probably suggests that Pep is probably thinking about Thursday night and getting rhythm and game time into this team.
Well, it's been such a long period without a game. I'm sure they'll play the whole 90 minutes, but we'll soon see what decisions made on that. But for me, really, I'm delighted to see those players still on the pitch and getting more minutes and hopefully a better second half for it.
City in front early on with a sweet finish from De Bruyne after a mistake by Paulo Gazzaniga, the Girona goalkeeper. And then De Bruyne doing what he does, assisting Erling Haaland to make it 2-0 to the Blues. Girona had a few chances, particularly as the first half wore on, and particularly through their centre-forward, Valentin Castellanos, looked like they could find their way back into this fixture. And they've started the second half positively. And Gutierrez picks it up for them. Headed up into the air by Charles and then cleared a second time. Just looking across, Espinosa, who didn't start in the first half, is now out there. We had him down on the team sheet initially at the start of the first half, but he wasn't out there. He is now. He's taken the place of Ramon Terrats at the back.
Always testing these team sheets. There's quite a few changes that absolutely worked down that should have been, and vice versa, now coming onto the pitch. But I'm really pleased for the City team as well, and these youngsters will want to continue playing with Haaland and De Bruyne, etc.
And Couto is the intended target there as Ortega gets it away, finds Cole Palmer. Another player who's come on at the start of this second half for Girona is former Leeds United winger Samuel Saiz, who was in the Leeds team for a couple of seasons.
Very talented player. I know him well. He's got a bit of an edge, can get himself into a little bit of trouble on occasions, but he's got certain amounts of ability, that's for sure.
I think Michael's referring to a lengthy ban he once got for spitting in a match against Newport County a few years ago. No one's ever doubted his ability. Anyway, Mahrez has got it on the halfway line, lays it off to De Bruyne. De Bruyne outside towards Rodgers. Rodgers taking his time, trying to find Haaland, couldn't quite. And Girona get that one away. And here's Rodgers a second time. Into the gap for Palmer. Palmer's deflection on the cross means it's a City corner.
Good runs. Expecting Rodgers when he gets into those areas. Can he have a one-on-one? I see him get after people rather than wait and put the passes into space.
I think it's City's first corner of the match. Haaland will be very keen to get that scoring touch well and truly honed. He's scored one already. He won't settle for that. Tries to get on the end of the corner and almost did. Seemed to have an arm round his waist as he tried to free himself. And now it's a free kick to Girona for a foul by Rico Lewis.
Good recovery runs. It looked like Girona were going to get away on the counter-attack, and there'll be one detail that Pep Guardiola won't like, but great aggression, Kevin De Bruyne, Lewis, etc. Yes, it's a foul, but I don't think you can. It's one of those, isn't it, where you say it's a good foul.
Good fouls and bad fouls. Good fouls are ones that break up the opponents as they try to counter. That's what happened there.
Good pressing again from City, Rodgers in particular.
Pep Guardiola like that. From Morgan Rodgers. It is a bitterly, bitterly cold day in Manchester. And those who are intending to come on are going to have to warm up a lot. Carlos Borges is stripped and ready. I can see below us. Those of you who've watched our coverage, it's the foul by Morgan Rodgers that's given Girona a free kick, but those of you who've watched our coverage on City Plus and Recast of the under-23s, the under-18s, the Youth Cups and so on, will have seen Carlos Borges before. He is an out-and-out left winger, and he takes the place of Morgan Rodgers in that left wing berth, and he's got an eye for goal. He really has. He's been brilliant this season. He's got 16 goals for the young academy teams already this campaign, and bearing in mind he plays out wide, not down the centre, that shows you what kind of player he is. Never lacks confidence, never lacks self-belief. He's only 18 years old, Portuguese born, and City certainly believe they have a real talent on their hands, and he has his opportunity today to give us around about 40 minutes to show what he can do with first team players around him. And here comes De Bruyne. He has Haaland, he has Carlos Borges. Oh, and Haaland stands on the ball. Let's hope he didn't get injured in the process. Is he okay?
Well, should be fine. Expected him to take that on, didn't you? The pace of the ball was really quite strong with his touch. In those wider areas, it should open up now, so the opportunities will be there for those 1v1s that I've said.
De Bruyne to Haaland. It's a fruitful process that City have got between those two. They've already combined for one goal today. They've combined for several goals for the first team already this season. And they're almost combining there for City to grab a third goal. Now here's Carlos Borges, first touch, finds Haaland. Back to the Portuguese again. Just held off well. he tried to get to the ball by Santiago Bueno.
I think Haaland could have played it earlier. He waited, he delayed, and then it was too far ahead of him. It was a simple pass.
So he's still trying to make it difficult for Girona to play out from the back as Jan Couto goes to Bueno. And it goes to Romeo. Now Espinosa all the way back to Gazzaniga. Nicely taken down by Villa. Saiz. Well, if you wear a number 10 on the back, it means you've got lots of skills, and he has in his armoury. Cleared in the end by Katongo, gathered in by Romeo. Kept into Martinez.